Bonjour à tous et toutes. Je suis Victor DANTAS, je suis un Microsoft MVP, je suis un consultant dans Power Platform aussi. Je suis brésilien d'origine, mais j'habite au Canada. J'habitais dans la belle ville de Québec pendant 12 ans. Alors, je parle un petit peu de français. Je vais essayer de parler le français aussi avec l'anglais. On va mixer un peu. Si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez poser les questions en français ou anglais ou en portugais, peut-être en espagnol aussi. Mais on va essayer de faire ça. C'est le premier temps que j'ai essayé de parler, de présenter en français. Alors, patience avec moi. On va mixer un peu. Aujourd'hui, on va parler de portail, comme on peut faire pour, euh, pour build notre premier portail. Alors, je vais partager mon écran aussi. Un moment, s'il vous plaît.
C'est OK. Ah, c'était OK.
Can you all see my screen correctly?
Tu vois bien ton PowerPoint.
Parfait. I will close my camera to make sure that we have enough bandwidth. But before I do so, I just want to tell you that I love France so much. And my family and I really hold the country dearly in our hearts and all over the house. As you can see, pictures and stuff from France. So we really, really love your country. Thank you so much. The team at Power Platform French Summit, Aurélien, and all the organizing team. Thank you, Melanie, for facilitating today. Really appreciate your time. So let's get started. And again, I'll try to speak French in between the presentation. I'm so sorry, my French is not very good, but I'll try anyway, just because I love the language. And please do that with me today. All right. Okay, so we'll talk about our first portal. How can we get started with portals? Okay. What? How we can successfully implement Portal using very little code and a lot more of the low code um, strategy from the Power Platform. Again, I'm Victor DANTAS. I'm a Microsoft MVP. You have the QR code to have access to the assets that I publish online and just to join me online as well on social network. I would appreciate if I can help you. It'll be great to connect to you as well. All right, so the object of this session is to understand how we can successfully create a portal, understand the technology, apply branding, apply CSS to your portals, explore portals and CDS components, understand other key pro dev aspects of PowerApps Portals. Even though we're not going to dive into a whole lot of pro dev, I have other sessions that are more pro dev oriented. We'll talk about some aspects so that if you stumble upon a feature that you want to implement and you're not have enough assets to do it using the low code approach, you can still kind of find your way in the pro dev world, if you will. The agenda, we're gonna look at Maker, the website Microsoft promotes for assessing and changing PowerApps portals. We're gonna look at the 3 ways that you can go about customizing your portals. We'll have a view under the hood, what's under portals, what's the technology behind. We're gonna look at CSS and Bootstrap, and then the CDS components, and then a little bit of liquid development if we have time to do so. All right, prerequisites to get your portals created. You need to have a CDS environment, and we're gonna look at how you can create an environment if you don't already have one. We're gonna look at again at the Maker website, and the last item there is for folks if you don't have a CDS environment and you want to experiment um, portals or any other Power App, Microsoft offers the community plan for you to run your own environment of CDS. Now, the only caveat to the CDS community plan environment is that it's a single use user base, so you cannot have multiple people accessing that particular environment. All right. All right. So let's have a look at how we can provision a portal. So I have logged on to my own tenant, and in this tenant I have multiple environments. So let's assume that I don't have one environment that has a CDS database yet created. So what you can do, you can click new, you can access admin.powerapps.microsoft.com, and then you click new, give your environment a name. If you're doing it on your own, you have a few types. You can select which type you want to use. If you're playing with, I'll strongly advise you to use Sandbox. Um, then you select the region that you want to run your environment, and you see that France is one of the regions. You define the purpose. This is entirely up to you how what you define here, but it's good for reference. And then you mark that you want to create a database or CDS or a Microsoft Dataverse database for your environment, if you will. So when you hit next here, it will ask for additional apps that you want to add. And the apps that they are referring to is essentially if you want to add the Dynamics Sales, Dynamics 365 Customer Service. So when I do demos, I don't select apps. I like to do my demos entirely with just Microsoft Dataverse components, the out-of-the-box entities and such, but it's entirely up to you. If you want to experiment different using different entities, then you can add the modules that you want to the environment. So once your environment is created, you're going to navigate to make.powerapps.com, and from here, you're going to select the environment that you created. For me, I'm using my default environment, and that gives me what I need. Now, once you do that, you see this default view. That's the home view for make.powerapps.com. In here, you can click to add a new portal. Now, if you do it from here, you get a basic portal with without very much automation. If you have added the sales components or the customer service components to your portal or module, to your environment, I should say, you can go to this create area, and when you type portal, you're gonna see different results here. You'll be able to create a portal with out-of-the-box features for customer service for your experiment. So this is really cool. If you use some of the templates, it's cool because you don't start implementing portals from ground zero. You add some functionality to it, like the customer service functionality, knowledge base article search, so on and so forth. Now, those templates will only appear on this listing if you have added the Dynamics 365 modules to your environment. Any questions so far? All right. I always like to ask because I see we have about 50 people in the room, but it's really hard in the age of COVID to make sure that people are really there. So, but if you have questions, you can ask at any time, and we'll do our best to respond. Anyhow, so continuing here, when you go about creating your portals, you can select a name. for your portal. This is more descriptive to the assets that you're creating. Down here, though, when you define the address, this is really important. You have to select something that unique. So in my case here, I'm adding a subdomain name that's already in use. Okay, so you have to find one that's not in use for you. And what I strongly suggest, if you're doing this professionally, make sure you define which environment this portal is associated to. Okay, this particular subdomain name can be changed in the backend. I can show you how we can change that, but from the get-go, if you can define it, it minimizes the work that you have to do afterwards. It's important to note also that Portals allows for you to use a custom domain as well as upload a SSL certificate for your custom domain. Next, you can select the language of your portal. Now you notice here that it's only showing English for me. Reason being is because my environment, my Dataverse or CDS environment or project.deal environment, whichever way you want to call it, does not have any additional language package installed. Now, if you do it on your environment, and I would assume that most of you have French installed in your environment, you'll be able to select French here. Portal comes with, I think, close to 20 something languages available out of the box, so you can implement multi-language setup on your portals. The only two languages that I think they don't support, or major two languages that they don't support today, is Hebrew and Arabic. The rest is available. So if you have it on your environment, it becomes an option and you can select here. So when you click to create and the apps show up on your environment, you notice that you have one portal app show up and then one portal management app show up after the installation is completed. The top one is the portal itself. So I can click to browse and it's gonna show my portal. I can click to edit and I'm gonna leave this one open here on the side. You see that this is what the portal looks like from the get-go. So very vanilla, very simple, bootstrap-based portal. Nonetheless, it's good that it started from providing a little bit of functionality, and you don't have to do this from ground zero. So let's go back to the presentation and see what we got next here. All right, so that's what Portal looks like. Now, Portals has pretty much three ways or three gateways that allow for us to customize. Microsoft is making a huge effort to make this customization process very friendly for us. So they are implementing a lot of the features using the Portal Studio, or allowing us to extend portals using the Portal Studio. The next way to do it is using the legacy editor. And this is what most of the developers are familiar with, especially if you came from the old legacy days of ADX Studio Portals, which was the product that gave origin to PowerApps Portals. And then the third one is through the backend. And we're going to take some time now to explore each particular medium or way to customize PowerApps. So going back to this area, you see that there is this component called PowerApps Studio, and I'll show you how I got here again slowly. But while we're here, I don't want to reload it. Let's talk about the Portal Studio. So up top here you have the comment bar. The comment bar will allow you to add new pages, and it provides two layouts for adding new pages. There is also the fixed layouts, some of the layouts that are available in the back end, and some of those I created myself. So as you create your own page templates, they will show up on the listing. Otherwise, you use the out of the box component. So going to the side, you have the tool belt. So the tool belt allows you to extend the components of the page. So I can navigate to a page that I have previously created so that I can make changes to it. I can add components to my page, or text area, an image, a form, and some other CDS components. I can add a layout so that it breaks down the page into areas. Down here, I can work on themes. These themes are essentially CSS files that I can refer to. I can edit the existing ones if I want by clicking on it, and then the editor will show me the CSS. I can enable basic theme. So Microsoft pushed a change a few months ago that allows us to theme our portals, like the color selection of our portals, without referring to changes to CSS. So that's really cool as well. And then last but not least, there are the templates that I can refer to and make changes to in my experience here. So just for giggles, I suppose, let's add a component. So I'm gonna add a 3-section component, and you notice that it added here to the bottom. And in here, I can add images if I so want to. So now I have an image. I can upload my image. So let's add. It's an image that already exists. So let's do logo PNG, and my image is here now. And I can add text as well if I want to. So now I have text. This is a test. I can format my text, and I am good to go. Now, let's continue to explore. The main area here in this Portal Studio is called Canvas. And this is essentially where you see how your page will look like. It's the area of design. Down here to the bottom, you have the footer. The footer allows for you to view the content of your pages. So now I can make changes in the HTML if I'm comfortable with that experience. You saw the text that I just added. It's bold because I click on the bold command, and then it added this HTML tag to it. So good to go. Then on the side, on the right side, this area is called the properties pane, and it's where I can change the properties in the component that I may be playing with. So I can change the CSS or the style for that component, and it will push that particular directive here to my HTML as well. Now, one of the things that is not very optimal yet on this experience is the saving capabilities of PowerApps Portals. We have reported this to Microsoft time and again, and they are making an effort to correct it. Sometimes as you are making changes, the autosave gets delayed, and then the changes that you have pushed don't get pushed as the last, and then sometimes it overrides what you do. So I strongly suggest, if you're using Portal Studio, as you're making changes to the properties, such as the one that I'm about to do, when you click out of those boxes, make sure you wait a little bit for it to be saved. just to make sure that you're not going to lose your changes. So, but that's essentially what Power Studio does. Um, so next, what we got is the legacy front face editor. So when you access the portal address and you log in, um, when you log in first time, let me perform a login just to illustrate what I mean. When you log in first time, if you use the Azure AD login, it will automatically log you in as a portal administrator in this experience, and therefore allow you to use the front face editor component of the site, which is this little box here. Now, this particular component is a little different than Portal Studio. Portal Studio really gives you an experience of almost like using an IDE to make changes to your portal, whereas the editor is more granular as to which areas of the portal you are changing. So for example, if I hover over this menu area, I can click edit, and then now I can make changes to the menu. So let's say that I don't like the name of this JSON data source. I'm gonna change it to one, save, save again. And the way it's promoting this particular change is just granular change to my menu bar, as opposed to pushing changes in packages like the Portal Studio does. Okay, so that's a major change. If I want to make changes to my content, now I can click. You see, I hover over this area. I can click edit, and then now I have this gigantic control or component, rich text component that allows me to make change. I can make change here to Paris, or I can also go to the HTML and make changes directly here. All right. Okay, I'm gonna hit OK, save, and wait, and the save is done. So the change is complete. Now, the third way that you can make changes to portals is a little bit more complex, but it's still valid nonetheless. So I'm gonna go back to make.powerapps.com. And then in here, I'm going to scroll down and then find my portal management app. Then I can click here. And now I am at the portal management module driven app. You notice that it lists my website name, and I have all sorts of menus on the left hand side. We'll talk about them shortly here. But what I'm looking for is the web pages area. So in this area, I can see everything that exists in my portal, and I can navigate to the home page. Now in the home page record or form, you find an area called localized content. That's where we store the HTML content of a page. So I can click here and scroll down a little, and you can see the content of the page here in this control. And also on the control, I can then click and make changes here. All right. Now, the way Portal works is any change that we perform from Portal is pushed straight to your CDS database or your Dataverse database. Any changes that you push from the Portal Studio is also pushed to CDS. Okay. Now, if you make changes from the portal management application, some of those changes may not be surfaced to the portal straight away. So portal will take its time to push those changes over, but you can also force those changes to surface to your portal. And the way you do it is, so let's say if I make changes here, Bonjour France, save it, changes are not yet here, I can navigate to \services, \underscore service, \about. And when I'm logged on as an admin, I have access to clear the cache. And when I go back, I can now see my changes. All right. So if you, for some reason, are working in the back end and you make changes, especially if you are doing this, in a pro dev manner, creating components and whatnot, creating custom portal templates and whatnot, and those templates are not yet being presented on the portal, go ahead and clear the cache and they will show up. All right. So what do we have next? So before we look at examples, let's hop back to the PowerApps management area, and I wanted to show you a particular area that's going to be important for you if you're implementing portals the first time. And what that is the settings area for portals. This is a little different than the portal management studio. Portal management will allow you to, see the back end and have access to some of the configuration keys for portals that are more pertain to the data that's presented. But the settings area deals with custom domain and enabling Power BI and so on and so forth. So we're gonna have a look at that. So I got there by clicking the three dots and clicking settings, and I get this little pop-up here. I can then click administration. And then in here, I can make changes to my portal. If I want to bind it to another portal that I have in my environment, if I want to turn it off for upgrades, I can also click portal actions here and then do all sorts of stuff. I can force a restart. I can reset the data back to out of the box state, update my Dynamics URL. If I change the instancing URL, I can add extensions, the project service extension or field service. I can hide custom errors so that hackers don't kind of sniff the errors that they're showing up on portals. I can also get metadata translations as they become available, so on and so forth. The other areas, other things you can do here, you can set up SharePoint integration so that you can handle document management through portals as well. Granted that you have that enabled on your CDS environment, you can set up Power BI integration as well, so on and so forth. One area that's really cool too, if you're running this on enterprise and you want to see the state of your portal, if it's failing, you can always run the portal checker to see if to kind of get statistics on your portals. Okay, that's it for settings. Another area of administration that's really cool and it's available for you to enable on your portals is managing authentication providers. Portal comes with out-of-the-box features for all of the providers that are listed here. So it's fairly easy to set up, and Microsoft has made it even more easy by bringing this particular configuration to its own area. It used to be that you needed to go to the Power Management Studio to enable some of these providers. One thing that I want to advise all of you, if you're doing this for enterprise, is that you disable local sign-in. Microsoft has indicated that it will be discontinued. There is no date for it, but if you want to implement your own authentication mechanism, I would advise you to use Azure B2C. It gives you the same flexibility as what a local sign-in would provide, but the security is handled through Azure B2C, and passwords are not stored on your CDS. So if you're doing this for real on the enterprise, I say use B2C instead of local authentication. Okay, and there's documentation out there on how to do it. You can always reach out to me if you have questions about this particular area. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take time to brand our portal a little bit. I think that the first portal that we do always tend to rely more on branding than features itself. So let's have a look in how we can make it happen. All right. So from the Portal Management Studio, you're gonna access from the maker site. I'm sorry. You're gonna access Portal Management Studio. You're gonna land on the studio, and then what I will do is I'm gonna tweak the CSS a little bit to give more of the look and feel that I want, as well as change the images in the background. So first and foremost, what I want to do is I have a theme CSS that I'm going to upload, and I already have that particular CSS done. I will upload that guy and we'll inspect to see what I did. So that's my CSS. I'm gonna click to open that guy, replace. So that's what my CSS files look like. I'm just changing the color of my navigation bar and changing the color of some of the links on my site. So I can go ahead and save. So it's now saved. I can refresh my portal here to see if it already took my changes. Hopefully it did. And if it did not, I could have forced a cache refresh. But you see that it changed the header of my site, okay? And changed the links so that when I hover over, my menu bar is changed. Now, if you look at my CSS, it's very minimal. And I do it for a purpose. I don't want to overwhelm people on my presentation. So it's done, ready to go. But if you want to extend this more, if you want to apply full CSS, one of the strategies that I use is I go to this site called bootswatch.com and I access the version 3 of the site. And reason being is because PowerApps Portal uses Bootstrap 3, okay? And then from here, you can download the Bootstrap min file with the template that mostly matches the example that you are trying to reproduce. There are many templates that you can access, so you can pick and choose which one you want, and then you can go ahead and upload your file using the same strategy that I did. When you do so, when you refresh the site, you see that your site has completely changed. So that's one strategy. Now, the next step that I will take here is I want to change this logo, okay? So I'm going to click Edit here, and I can change this guy to a logo that I've already uploaded to my site. So PNG logo, save, oops, I guess I have not uploaded that one yet. So let's do the exercise together. So in this editor, you can click the image link. Then you can browse the server. You're gonna get this particular pop-up. Then now you can click to add an image. I will select this logo, hit OK, select my image, hit OK again. Now I'm gonna take this text out from my HTML, out for my image, our logo right there, save, and my logo is there. I haven't contained it inside my div, so I can make other changes to my logo. Maybe make it a little bit smaller, so 150 by 75. Hopefully that's good enough. A little squish, but it will do. So I have my logo in place now, so I'm good to go. Now I can do the same thing with the studio. By clicking edit. You see my logo is here. I can click to switch to another image if I want to, and then I can apply the formatting manually here. So whichever way you decide to use, they work. Sometimes I get too hung up on classic, but either way will provide the feature that you want. Now, let's say that I want to change this background image on my site. Again, I can click on the image. It will show the name. If I already have an image on my database, I can select them, or I can just click and select the one that I want. So I'm not sure if I have a new one there yet. So let's click to upload. Power Home Hero. Okay. So now that's done and saved. Can go back to my portal presentation, refresh, and it didn't refresh yet. Okay. See, the autosave sometimes fool you. So let's click one here and try to force a save. And hopefully this is gonna do it for us. So yeah, so I apply branding here, very simple example, but still valid nonetheless with very simple code. One other thing that I want to show you is that again, you can click on the component, click on the source code, and view the HTML if you're more comfortable with that particular experience. All right, any questions so far? All right, we'll keep on going. All right, so next what we're gonna look at is what is Portal really under the hood? What are the technologies and components that make up this particular product? So Portal is a .NET, ASP.NET website. I'm not sure which version of the .NET it is running anymore because we no longer have access to code, but it is a ASP.NET site that's built based on data, and all of the data is stored in CDS. If ever your CDS is unavailable because the region data center goes out or whatever, your portal will go down because it heavily relies on data stored in your CDS. Within the data, you have basically core entities. The core entities that you work with is a website, of course, which holds the name of your site and some of the bindings to be able to render that site. You have web pages, site settings, controlling some of the components of the site, how it's presented, and also how you authenticate. This is all stored in site settings. Content snippets. This is items that you use throughout your page that you want to dynamically offer a possibility for BAs and other power users to make changes on the fly. Web files, and those web files are stored as notes records in your CDS. You can configure it to store files in Azure blob storage, but out of the box, Portals will store all of its assets, file assets, as annotation attachments. Within the web pages entity, you have an association to something called web page localized content. The localized content, it's what allows you to run multi-language web pages. So you may have one web page and multiple localized contents depending on how many languages you have enabled in your portal deployment. You have a page template. This entity here, it's not serving a whole lot of purpose anymore. In the past, it worked as a switch when you wanted to implement a custom ASP.NET template. Right now, we don't have access to that functionality anymore. So this is just a placeholder for the time being, but it doesn't serve a whole lot of purpose. You still need it to be able to customize your templates, but you cannot use the ASP.NET functionality anymore. Then you have CDS components called entity forms and entity views, and those are essentially ways for you to expose CDS components. So CDS forms, CDS views from your CDS implementation. Page template, like I said, you could use, in the past, you could use ASP.NET based templates, but now we can only do liquid implementation. And then these web templates, they can be HTML based, you can do JavaScript and liquid customization. So we're gonna look now into entity forms and views real quick because I only have 2 minutes, and hopefully we'll be able to cover that. All right. So entity forms are ways that Portals allows for you to expose CDS features. And in here, though, what you can do is I'll navigate to a page.
Alan, je me permets juste de vous couper pour dire qu'on arrive quasiment à la fin de la session.
Pardon, Mélanie, je ne peux pas comprendre.
On est à la fin des 3/4 d'heure.
Oh no. All right. So I'll stop now, and then I'll just make some links available for folks to contact me if you have any additional questions. I'm sorry we couldn't get too advanced in the talk today as much as I wanted to. But thank you so much. Connect online if you have questions, concerns. Please let me know. Thank you, and au revoir.